From an anti-capitalist thought about Zelda and how amazing it is that Nintendo's a for-profit company. I don't think we should begrudge that. In the world I would design, I mean, ultimately, there's different layers of sci-fi. It's sort of a developmental thing, I think, and hopefully we would end the tyranny of money altogether. Ultimately, that would be something we should strive for. Although the precise contours of that can only be visible and understandable to the people who are somewhat close to doing that. I mean, we can imagine, we can fantasize, we can even have pretty detailed plans, but we're nowhere near like actually pulling that off. You know, it's not like the era when horses were still the dominant form of transportation, and then suddenly these weird buggies are starting to crawl around. And then at that point, you're like, well, I guess we're going to need to make octagonal shaped metal signs that have the word stop on them. You know, I don't know if they had those before during horse times. Did horses do that? I don't think so. Probably not. Different form of pollution back then. Poop on the ground to suffocating pollution that'll destroy us all. So, you know, if only we could make cars poop like horses. What the fuck am I talking about? The money. We want to get rid of money. Money is an evil. Money is the final deity we must slay. It's the ultimate god of our planet. Every single one of us have from a very early age gotten to watch our parents freak out about money, so that when we also got to freak out about money and its presence and its role in our lives and the ways it's used to manipulate and coerce and all that stuff. That said, patreon.com/winners and losers. Give me money. I need it. I really do. Also, just to see sort of a list of other stuff I'm posting, I'm making pretty much everything is public on there as sort of just a catch-all for the stuff that I'm putting up on the internet these days. So even if you don't donate, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to get rid of money in our lifetimes. And I want a lot of money. I need a lot of money because I have a desire to not die in elder poverty. And I consider that a lot. And unfortunately, that's another symptom of this sickness that surrounds money. What the hell is it getting at with money? Oh, what makes Zelda so beautiful? It comes from a for-profit. Well, in a world where I would design it, like most of our economy should be not for profit. If we're going to include money in this, money is maybe at best is something that could facilitate receipts. Basically, we just need to write shit down so that we know where stuff is. It's stupid to not do that. It'd be devastatingly, all kinds of problems. So we just need something to facilitate transactions in order to produce receipts, so we know where stuff is. The profit incentive is what's choking humanity to death. Most of the industries in the world, although I don't have the numbers or the research here, but like there are there's industries that feed human needs and there's industries that don't. And I would argue, and I don't know, I'm not arguing, there's probably data that like electricity, healthcare, food, safety, even housing. I would even argue entertainment is a human need. Like I would define human need very broadly. Anything that has to do with human needs should not be a for-profit business. Anything, including like Coca-Cola Corporation, because they're distributing food. That should be a corporation that's run by and for the benefit of the society. The founders of most of these places. I also think that it's arguably fair that the creators of companies, the founders, if we're going to continue that model of understanding where companies originate, deserve to get rich if their company, delivers a lot of products and services. They deserve to be rich. We can argue that, especially in the capitalist nature that we're starting from. We got to remember we're talking fantasy right now, but we're also in applying a prescription that comes out of this fantasy. We have to set that in the root that somewhat in reality, right? So we're starting from severely, deeply messed up capitalist with the social mores that come along with these oppressive societies that are required in order to sustain the unfairness and the profit extraction that comes from capitalism, from the process of converting earth, land, and dumb it down. You're thinking too much. Dumb it down. Just fucking land. Just the planet itself. Turning it into money. Turning it into currency, which is a technology that they use to store your time so that they can have wealth later. They can't keep your time without some sort of technology that stores it for later. That's what money is. That's how they use money. The world I would design, and I think I'm leaving a couple of threads missing or loose there. Oh, the founder should get rich, and then after the person dies, or maybe even reaches a threshold, and I could also come up with an argument against this, but then then it kicks in a process where, okay, that guy who started Coca-Cola, Daniel Day-Lewis, let's say, who started up his own oil company, really family friendly guy, as you know from There Will Be Blood. That guy got really rich, but once he's gone, once he accidentally blows his head off with a load, I almost said a pump action musket, with one of those guns he's shooting drunkenly, because his son has fled to Mexico to start his own oil company because he's smart, and he's sick of the old man. The production of all that oil, and I'm not a big oil guy, but obviously you could probably tell, but why does that privatization of the profit continue? I'm just saying that I think if you say, well, because you hear that argument all the time, well, the guy who started it should get rich. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll grant you that. We'll give you that one. You get one or two, and I even think for the generation after, they'll be okay too. It's not like there's poverty being inflicted. The Walton family should only have been limited to a few $100 million, arguably less. But like, they're just billions and billions and billions and billions and billions upon billions, because they can shape societies. And with all that, they can shape societies, they can shape communities, and they can do all sorts of nefarious stuff. Maintaining this subjugated working class, feeding off the teat of government because their workers use food stamps and stuff like that because they don't pay them well enough. The workers have to interface with all the terrible customers. They have to deal with the stress. They have to sacrifice their bodies. They have to get up every morning and go put on their clothes and suffer through the actual indignity of modern work culture. The Waltons, who didn't do anything to create the company, they're fucking just buying yachts and getting upset that their yacht, my yacht's too old now. My yacht's 5 years old. Look at that yacht over there. I want a bigger one. Making purchases. Oh, what do you mean I have a waiting list to buy a space, that Captain America plane that Samuel L. Jackson flies with that balding white guy who is like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy, those two dudes, the administrators of the Captain America squad, whatever they call those people, the Avengers. They fly around in a big drone. That's it's an aircraft carrier drone. Well, I bet you will see that soon. I don't know if they're going to get that big, but there's an arms race of consumption to buy luxury bunkers and luxury submarines, and that's what the heirs of these massive fortunes are doing. That's not serving humanity, So why am I doing all this? I have so many fucking stories. All I'm saying is that the founder, okay, get rich, fine, and now the process enters public ownership, worker control. Exactly the shapes of that, I'm not sure precisely, but keeping it private is what I am sure should go away. So Coca-Cola becomes something that communities have influence over, that the workers have influence over, maybe even still with all the market forces and market dynamics that our system is built around. Ultimately, maybe leading towards I don't think you get rid of markets even when you reach the final stages of all this, or the final like kind of where we're actually doing well for humanity. I'm not sure you necessarily get rid of markets precisely. They would probably have a lot different contours than what we currently have. Contour, the word of the day. And so your death, you did something, you made a bunch of money, your lemonade stand blew up. Now you're Jeff Bezos, and you're gone. You get to be a rich piece of shit for a few, until you're dead. And then your kids get to be rich pieces of shit, and they're going to be well-heeled, and they're going to be part of the upper class no matter what, including your grandchildren. And we're still going to sustain the generational wealth of all that. But you're just going to stop the thing where you get to make where all the decisions are done are then in private hands, because then they get gobbled up by private equity owners and massive institutional investors and all these other privatized Wall Street, especially with the increasing financialization of the economy. It just means that all you have are vultures and parasites making decisions. Influence and then also bribing the politicians in this United States of corruption, because that's one of the main ways all this works. There aren't even any conversations about getting money out of politics. Used to hear that a lot more in the past. It just doesn't even seem to be possible to even consider. But beyond that, though, the human needs, and I'm going to get back to talking about Zelda somehow. I almost poked myself in the face with this pencil. I should draw on some fucking beard hairs. That's what I need. There's not enough ink in the planet to keep my head covered in hair. Actually, there is. Any industry that has to do with human need, I'm describing for you right now what a future society could look like, is not meant for any profits at all. Now, at least in the hands of hoarding private owners, people who do the work, like workers, employees. In fact, from that further, like way in the distance, in the future, the concept of it being an employee will be kind of antiquated. It'll be like, what? That's crazy. We'll call it employerism or something like that. But anything that has to do with human needs shouldn't be for profit. And currently, like, things should be dramatically nationalized, like electricity companies should not be in private hands, and all the electrical distribution and healthcare and all the other ways that functions. But I'm saying, like, in a much more broader sense, it maybe call it the cloud economy or something like that. I don't know what the exact term is, but like you have your private for-profit economy. The goal of our society should be to shrink that to less and less and less, because most things we do is basically about transportation, about entertainment, distraction, hobbies, travel, leisure, like all that shit is human needs. I think those should be considered human needs. In order to flourish, you need all that stuff. You need time to rest and time to relax, and also stuff to do. If we're going to get rid of work, because my whole goal here is to convert society from a work cult into a relaxation cult. We still got to be nutty about it. We still got to be crazy and out of our minds about relaxing. We're not just going to get rational all of a sudden, but let's get irrational about being happy, about exercising well, meaning like where like our bodies aren't just wasting away because we have to work all these fucking hours, and our stupid so that our dumb bosses can afford a Lexus, and our stupid boss is scared too because they're also experiencing the precarity of a climate that's collapsing and of industries that are under the command of freaks like Elon Musk and Bezos and all the other billionaire types. There's a whole bunch of them that don't like their names said. Like the morons are the ones that go out and make themselves front and center. Elon Musk, of course, primary among that group. So with human beings controlling human behavior collectively, democratically, there's still going to be some slop in that process too, because humans aren't, particularly if you're starting from the foundation of all the distorted beliefs in ways that we currently believe. Our minds are currently sculpted by cultures and by stress that are not healthy or not optimal, to put it kindly. So Zelda, for instance, is, I think, an achievement in game design, at least in quality of experience for the user. I'm just enjoying the heck out of it. And Nintendo should make profits off of that. Now, again, I said that they could be part of considered entertainment. But let's say you took away the profits from that and you had to work like within a context of a society that was built around, really limiting who gets to make stupid, and even if you are making big profits, that should be limited. Okay, you want to make a ton of money and you do become there's some French guy is one of the world's richest people who owns just luxury brands, just tons and tons of luxury brands. I don't know his name. F something. R maybe. Those are two letters they have in France. There should still be severe limits on all that stuff. And if we're designing the world the way I'm describing, we could also do that. We should have restrictions on wealth acquisition. It's ridiculous. Every single law, every single regulation is a restriction on behavior designed to minimize or mitigate risks and harms to other people. Except we don't do any kind of restrictions on how much wealth you're allowed to acquire or how much wealth you're allowed to store outside the country and all that other, all the ways that the utility of all that money of these people, like people from the left. I mean, there's all sorts of criticisms you'll hear throughout the years over all the shows and all the various thinking about it. But the utility of all that money is that you don't have it. The utility of the money is that it's kept away from those who actually would use it, who need it. That's the real benefit of most of that, besides the status proofing and all the other stuff. And they get their liquidity through collateral and all the other things that you can describe. But in a Nintendo situation, nothing about the profit motive, nothing about the privatization of the profits that Nintendo is. I guess it's the #1 selling video game of all time. I don't know if that's the case, but I saw some article. I'm just bringing it up here. A headline. It's sold 10 million. I mean, it's very successful, very well received. People love this game. You got people, old dumb fucks like me, who grew up playing Zelda. You got young kids who didn't, who are playing Zelda. So like it's tapping into multiple generations of fan baseism. That would still exist. We would produce more Zeldas. There would be more Legend of there'd be Legend of Hank's farts of the serfdom or something like that. No, but there would, like, the creativity, the skill that's on display, the complex decision making that has to happen to approve all these really immense, like, it's this really, got this really intricate building thing in there that can be kind of annoying to some people. My roommate finds it kind of annoying, actually. All that stuff would be possible in the world I'm describing, but we'd get to enjoy so much more of it. In fact, probably far beyond it, because human potential would be encouraged. We would be, like, essentially cultivating humanity in a way that isn't just about, well, every once in a while someone makes something really great. It's not like that's all a result of capitalism. That's a result of collective effort. And by the way, the strength of capitalism is collectivity, is the collective effort, because they need people. They actually always need people to do the work, especially people in the homes to do the cleaning and the cooking and the rearing of the children. That's called social reproduction. That's also an essential unpaid part of capitalism, which there's all sorts of conversations around that concept. But it's the strength of capitalism is collective action. It's groups of people doing stuff together, making things happen, and then a whole bunch of other people driving shit around, and a whole bunch of other people wiping and cleaning crap up, because there's always dust and there's always shit that needs to be cleaned up. That's never going to go away. So it's just the parasites that plug into the brainstem are the ones that make decisions, and the ones that drive the body. It's basically the plot of Ratatouille, right? Patton Oswalt, is he in Ratatouille? Did he play the rat? I'm pretty sure he was the voice of the rat. I don't know what's going to do with him. Seems like a nice guy. So, like, the collective strength that when we get impressed by what's happening, when something actually really cool happens in the world, we're impressed by collectivity, collectivism. You know, the individualism and individuation of the narrative is often, wow, look what that one person did. Look at that one person did to create this society, create this game. Or, not that people think Zelda came from one person, but, like, the rewards and the narratives flow towards the top. Elon Musk gets all this credit for SpaceX and for Tesla and for the weren't they supposed to make solar panels that are sun tiles or solar or roofing tiles that are solar panels? I don't know, but he gets all this credit. This guy doesn't do shit. Video we're going to watch later today, I'm pretty sure it's going to sustain the idea that he's pretty much just a fucking moron. It's just as you can see from everything he does. So yeah, wasn't planning on going on this rant right at the beginning at all. I was actually sitting here thinking, God, I wish I didn't have to do all this prep and technical stuff, so that I could just get my head in the game space to talk. Just like I just should be. It's like when you run comedy shows, you got to do, like, when you're at the lower end of the comedy world, you got to, like, set up all the chairs, you got to put all the microphones in the right spot. There's only one spot for the microphone, but you got to make sure the sound works. You got to make sure that there's flyers, and you got to do all this other crap, and then you got to get on stage and talk and host and be funny and shit. It would be so much nicer. I'm just fantasizing about not having to do the camera and all this other stuff. My goal is to have a employee. No, I don't. It's not. Although if I did, they would be incredibly well paid or something like that, or we work out some sort of co-op deal. I don't know. That's jumping ahead. Let's not jump ahead. Patreon.com/winners and losers. Let's get that number up over 20. It's at 20. Let's get it to 21. Someone bump me up to 21. Come on, let's do it. Yeah, I guess to summarize the thought, back to the original point, it was that Zelda, in all its brilliance, is the kind of thing that we would get to experience. Nothing about its quality is a result of the privatization of ownership. So the world we would want to design, we would continue to make stuff like that. In fact, there'd be a lot of shit too. There'd be a ton of annoying DJs who aren't that good at being a DJ. A lot of people, because humans are just inherently expressive animals, I think, in a lot of ways. Not everybody has that impulse per se, but a lot of us want to be DJs. A lot of us want to do this. Okay. I want to do that, but not like struggling DJ. I want to be famous DJ. I'm just kidding. I'm way too noise sensitive and very light sensitive. In fact, fuck, I can't take that light. I got to put my hand on. Now the blue lights are way too dominant.